Okay, so Thor Love and Thunder has been out for a while, and I was really excited to watch this movie, but at the same time I was very cautious because I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok, but I don't think it was as good as everybody says it was. I think it was a little overrated. I'm not like the biggest fan of Taika Waititi's humor. I think it's really hit or miss, like 50-50. Some of it I absolutely love and I laugh my ass off at, and then the other jokes I just think are a bit dry and very easy and, you know, in a way cheap. But for the most part, I still enjoyed the movie. So with this movie, the reviews were already in and it was already scored as one of like the lowest, and people were saying how comedic it was, that those who love Taika Waititi's humor are gonna love it, those who don't aren't. And you know, me, because I kind of, you know, have a love-hate relationship with his humor, I thought this movie was gonna be, for me at least, you know, 50-50. And for the most part, yeah, that's really where I stand. Okay, so first things first, I will be talking spoilers. I mean, this movie has been out for a while now. It's a Marvel movie. I'm sure you've already seen it. So yes, I will be going into spoilers. And the first thing I gotta say is, yes, this movie is just full of jokes. It's very comedic, but at the same time, I think since my expectations were like so low and I thought this movie was gonna be nothing but jokes, it actually surprised me a bit, seeing that this movie actually has some heart and some scenes, very little scenes, where you actually feel the pain and just are just allowed to breathe in and take in everything. And I really enjoyed those parts. And then there are other scenes that are just full of jokes, and I would say that throughout the movie I was smiling, but at no point did I laugh out loud or just really just chuckle. I think the most they got out of me was a smile, and I think that was just probably the little split kick that he did at the beginning of the movie that Thor did. And really that one time, like, the ghost screamed once they like hit that black and white planet from Gore. That's really about it, I'd say. That's the only thing that really got me to laugh. Other than that, I was kind of just smiling for the most part. So this movie, the humor, it was fine, but very mid for me. I was like, okay, this is pretty much exactly what I was expecting. Now, going on to Thor, he is just going backwards. I mean, like, this guy's just a complete idiot. I thought, you know, the first Thor, you get to see him, he's not really much of an idiot, as more of he's just like this really cocky, just, he thinks he's the toughest guy in the world. And, you know, he learns like the value of like discipline and how important others' lives are besides him, and that's a great growth. And then in this movie, you know, he still has the values of life. Like, he still wants to protect other people, but at the same time, he's not worried about just really damaging whatever the hell is in front of him, because, like, fuck it, he's still Thor. And it just makes it feel like they're going backwards. And I don't know what the point of is. In this movie, I feel like there's not that much growth between any of the characters, really. Like Valkyrie, you can pretty much kiss her goodbye, because she's really just there. She's kind of just hanging out in the back. And I guess that's fine. You know, you don't need everybody to have arcs, but at the same time, they're not really using her to her full potential. But like, whatever, I guess they wanted to focus more on Thor and Jane in this movie, and throughout the movie they really do. Like, at the beginning you get Jane, and what the fuck, I mean, they got cancer jokes. I guess, you know, I think it's okay to make fun of really anything within good taste, but these jokes, I mean, they were Marvel jokes, they were Marvel cancer jokes, so, you know, take that as you will. And how she got the powers, complete bullshit. They skipped through everything. It was just out of nowhere, you know, she's the mighty Thor. And they explain it, and it's probably the cheapest way to explain it. And honestly, it's a fine way to explain it. When I found out how they explain it, I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, that's really, that's the best thing you guys can do. That's very cheap. Whatever, they didn't even want to get into that. They'd rather just make more jokes than establish how a character becomes the mighty Thor. I mean, like, this is Mjolnir. We're talking about, like, probably one of the most powerful weapons and one of the most well-recognized weapons in the MCU. And at this point, it just feels like they're just gonna start giving it off to anybody, and anybody can hold it and grab it and just fucking wield it. But whatever, besides that, I gotta say, anything good about this movie? I love the use of color. The color, this movie is beautiful, it's gorgeous. Like, Thor Ragnarok was fun to look at. This movie is also fun to look at. I'd say the best part about it, honestly, is when it doesn't have color. That black and white scene that you've probably seen in the trailers with Gore the God Butcher is easily a really fun action scene. in all of the MCU. But the sad part is that it's actually really short. It's only like a minute or 2 minutes long. For a while, I thought this was like, oh, this is the big final showdown. And it's really not. It's like right before the big final showdown. And I was kind of wishing, it's like, why didn't they just make that the big final showdown? Just make that like this huge battle in black and white. Like, we haven't gotten that in any Marvel movie, so just make this the first one and really give us something fascinating to look at, because it was beautiful, it was gorgeous. But of course, it was only about a 2-minute battle. Now, I would say Gore the God Butcher is easily the best part of this movie. I think Christian Bale, I mean, once I heard Christian Bale was playing Gore the God Butcher, I knew it's like, okay, we're gonna get something out of the villain. And we did. He was an amazing villain. He was really creepy, and even then, you know, he was cracking jokes, but he used this like really high-pitched voice, and it made him sound, like a fucking weirdo, man. He sounded creepy. You don't want to be around him, and he did a really good job at just first starting off as like the sympathetic character. I mean, he was, his family died, his daughter died, and once he finally sees the gods that were supposed to give him like the salvation, you know, you see he's excited and people are laughing at him, and you can see like he's slowly getting confused as people are laughing at him, and he's slowly, but at the same time, he quickly realizes it's like, holy crap, like these people were just, you know, they're just fucking with me. They're not gods. They're not here to protect. We're pretty much slaves to them. So that buildup was nice, but then he quickly grabs the sword and he quickly kills a god, and then out of nowhere he just says all gods will die. I was like, okay, that was a bit rushed. Like, what the hell? Like, you build up this slow, painful death of his daughter, and then out of nowhere he just becomes this bad guy once he realizes the gods are back. Yeah, I understand he wants to be a bad guy now, but that was just super fast. That, whatever. Like, they don't have enough time to establish that because they want to make more jokes about screaming goats. Fine, whatever. Easily the best part. Now we get into Thor, the fucking main character. What journey does he go on? Really, he's kind of just there, and then out of nowhere, he gets the daughter. He gets Gore's daughter. That came out of nowhere. I like the idea of Thor having a kid and raising a kid and being like this father figure to a kid. I thought that was really great. But they really just rushed that at the end. Like, what the hell was that? I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's where they're going? Like, I'm happy that's where they're going. You know, I understand the MCU, they're trying to build up a new generation of Marvel characters because, you know, everybody's getting old now. All the Phase 1 characters are leaving. But this is, you didn't earn it. This is not the way to go about it with Thor. You know, I love the idea that he's having a kid. This just came so random, just out of nowhere. Whatever. You know, like, you can tell they're really just taken away from the story to make room for jokes. And honestly, I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think that's good. And it's still making a lot of money, so they're just going to keep doing that. And that's the sad part, because now they're like, let's focus less on the movie, the story, and the characters, and let's just focus more on like as many jokes as we can throw in. And really, that's just so sad. Like, they're really not giving a shit anymore. And I understand Taika Waititi, this is his humor, and he loves to make his movies, you know, more uplifting, and that's great. But you can see that he's really just pushing away any story arcs between any of the characters, really. Like Thor and the kid, Jane with the cancer. I mean, with these cancer jokes, like, really, that's the best you guys are gonna do. Valkyrie is just gone. Gore the God Butcher is like just becomes this instant, you know, on a revenge path. I understand, yes, he's mad, but like, give me some time to grow with him. Give me some time to develop this, you know, urge to kill all the gods. But you don't. You just quickly switch him and he wants to be a God Butcher. Whatever. The action scenes with him, while they're amazing and beautiful, like, the best thing this movie has going for it, it's the color, it's the visuals. This movie looks gorgeous. Some of the CGI, especially at the beginning with Gore and the god he was talking to, that was fucking shit. And, you know, a little more towards like the middle, but especially like the lightning bolt. In some scenes, the lightning bolt that that Thor takes from Zeus, sometimes it look cool, other times it just looks so cheap. And speaking of like Zeus, I'd say Russell Crowe, that was pretty fun. It was fun. It was enjoyable seeing him like this really like piece of shit cocky god, and it helped Thor in a way understand like what Gore was coming from. He's like, okay, yeah, some of these gods are pieces of shit, but besides that, there's not much to it. Jane, I think it was fun seeing her being this rookie, really just in a way under like Thor's wing, and Thor kind of explaining to her, and her being really excited to be a superhero, and with these like really cheesy catchphrases that I thought was adorable. Their relationship is easily the best relationship they've had. But like, I mean, come on, even the first Thor and the second Thor, yeah, it's not much of a relationship there. And speaking of the first Thor, I mean, I kind of miss back when it was like that, you know, something you can read maybe like out of the Bible or something like that. And it was very Shakespearean, and now it's really just turned into these jokes, and that's because of Taika Waititi, and I'm fine with jokes, but I wish they toned it back down and they brought it back to that whole mystical level. When really, honestly, if I'm being honest, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but if he had free range, I wouldn't mind seeing Zack Snyder direct a Thor movie. I mean, we've seen what he's done with Superman and Batman, and really turning these, you know, DC characters into gods. Imagine what he would do with an actual god. Like, if he had freedom and complete control, I think that'd be really cool. But going back to Thor: Love and Thunder, yeah, this movie was just full of jokes. The early reviews, they were right. I am 50-50. I enjoyed this movie, and it was fun, but it's not a movie that I'm looking forward to watching again that much, besides any of the scenes with Gore. Really, I'm looking to see him, and even that's only like 10-15 minutes of the entire movie. I don't know. It's kind of sad that Marvel is really taking away from the story and focusing more on jokes, and because that's making money, that's where they're going to keep going, and that's the future. That's what it seems like, the future of Marvel. This movie, besides that, loved Gore, loved the visuals, loved Mjolnir. Really, that, you know, Jane wielding that Mjolnir, easily some of the best action scenes there. Like, the ability that it can, like, break apart into the pieces and come back together, that was really fun. Really cool action scenes with that. Besides that, Thor didn't really do anything impressive in this movie besides this new ability he just pulled out his ass that he can give a lot of people the power of Thor. What the fuck, man? Like I said, they're not even trying. That was just to get kids riled up, which is fine, but no, it's not making sense. So I feel like I'm talking shit about this movie more than I, you know, thought I was back when I first started recording. But I would say, like, it was fine. It was fun. It's really turning into like this Marvel formula, just with Taika Waititi's jokes sprinkled on it. But I'm not looking too excited. Like, just now I was watching Miss Marvel, and even then I watched the second episode because I already saw the first one, and then the third one. I don't know. It's sad, but I'm starting to lose a little bit of interest in Marvel because it seems like they're really just playing in the whole laughs, and instead of trying to build this epic story. Like, you know, I miss the Russo brothers. I wish they can come back and direct another fucking movie, because the movies they directed were easily the best movies in the MCU. But this movie, it was fine. It's fun. If you're a casual fan of the MCU, you're gonna enjoy this movie. It's got like all the laughs, it's got action, but I don't think it has much heart. And there were a few scenes with heart where Thor, like, he says out loud how much he loves Jane, and that, you know, that was nice, that was cute. And then him seeing like Jane come back as the mighty Thor, knowing that her cancer is not gonna, you know, heal, and she's not gonna get it better, but she's still sacrificing herself to help Thor out. That was nice, that was fun. Then, you know, you get this whole idea of, like, you know, Thor having a kid now. I don't know, whatever, you know, trying to build up the MCU, whatever it takes to build up the MCU. But besides that, Gore, love him, love Christian Bale. He was fun. I love when he, you know, had this like high-pitched voice when he was talking to the kids. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this movie. It was fine. Hopefully I can start my Steelbook and Blu-ray collection soon. But yeah, thanks for watching.